I went on, another thing is, I went on a national TV and I said, I am going to start a company whose sole purpose is going to be to make illness optional. And once you make a public commitment, amazing things happen. That becomes you, and you're not going to go back because you just told the world what you're going to do. And when you have that audacious moonshot, the universe comes together. The people around the world will come together to help you because that's a cause worth solving. That is the problem worth solving. And a lot of successful people want to do something for their legacy. They are successful. They want to be significant. And here is amazing thing happen. When I said that, I got a call from the head of the IBM Watson research. He said, I have been working on the artificial intelligence for 25 years. If you can tell me what's happening inside the human body, I can analyze it and give you everything that people need to do not to be sick. The second call I got was a woman named Dr. Helen Messier. She said, I'm a PhD in microbiology and MD. I'm functional medicine. I'm working for the Craig Venter on human longevity to increase the life of people. And she said, what's the point living longer if people are going to be sick anyway? I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to come and help you make illness optional. Right. Now, I still don't know what to do because I still don't understand any of this stuff. An amazing thing is going on now. Now, I'm going to Los Alamos National Lab. And many of you know at Los Alamos, you know what is famous for Los Alamos National Lab is? Atomic bomb. It's called Manhattan Project. It wasn't done in Manhattan. It was done at Los Alamos. These people know a thing or two about national security. I was there talking about completely different thing, and one guy walked up to me and said, I heard you on TV. You want to make illness optional. And I said, yes. He said, we are working on a biodefense technology that because we developed it for a simple reason, we were worried some bad actor were going to get hold of something biological. How would we know what is making people sick? So we developed the technology that can look deep inside your body, every single organism, what it is, how active it is, and what it's doing. And we can tell you exactly what is going on inside the human body. That was the missing piece. And he said, I'm going to quit my job and you can license this technology and you can go build that. Guess what happened? We got the exclusive license to this technology worldwide. And I'm going to tell you a story about how that happened. And because they spent billions of dollars developing this, and they gave me the exclusive license. Because, so I went there and I talked to the tech transfer office and I said, I really like this technology. And the guy at that point would say that, look, we are not here to make money. Even if you're wildly successful, my salary is going to be exactly the same. It makes no difference to us whether you're successful or you fail. But if you fail and our name goes with that, I would lose my job. So I have all the incentive in the world to tell you no, and there's not one thing that can make me say yes. Right? Got back to exactly the same thing with the Moon Express, right? This time I started a different approach. I went and I talked to all the scientists. At the evening, I told them that you guys have all been so kind to me about explaining what you do here. I'm going to give you a word of advice. And he said, what's that? So I'm now sitting here. I said, believe it or not, one day you're all going to get old. And you're all going to someday, if you're lucky, going to have grandkids. And your grandkids are going to ask you, Grandpa, you were working at this lab. What were you doing? And wasn't there a time you could have done something that could have changed the way people live their lives? And if you're honest with yourself, you have to say, there was a brown guy who came here and he said he could change the way people are going to live their lives. He wanted to make illness optional, but I was so afraid of losing my job, I told him no. I said, that's the guilt you have to live the rest of your life. Every day when you're looking in the mirror, you have to always answer to yourself, when I said no, that problem could have been solved because someone was dedicating their life to solving that problem. And now you have to think back and saying, do you still want to say no, or could the answer be yes? Guess what happened? The answer was yes. He said, if you are willing to dedicate your life, right? So what I'm here to tell you is that I took this moonshot And this is my seventh company. And as you know, any measure of success you can look at, I have been wildly successful. Why at my age I would decide that I'm going to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week? I could be sitting on any island and enjoying my life. I do this because I still have the debt of the society on my head. And before I die, I'm going to pay that debt back. And I'm going to solve this problem. And not only I'm going to promise you, so here is my promise to you. I'm going to dedicate my life to solving this problem. And I'm going to find a way to understand exactly what makes us sick. And I started this company a year ago. We just launched the company 4 months ago. Believe it or not, more than 10,000 people joined the revolution because they all want to solve this problem. Here is the biggest issue we face. Is all of us are very different. So I'm going to give you some science thing here because I want you to understand why we get sick, because this is my part of educating you so you understand why each one of us are unique, at the same time almost the same. When you look at the human DNA, our genes, everyone will tell you your genes are your destiny. I'm about to tell you that your genes actually matter little. Your genes don't make you who you are. In fact, we as humans, we have more foreign cells in our body than we have the human cells. When you look at our genes, our human DNA only produces 20,000 genes, and all the microorganisms that are living inside the gut, I'm going to tell you, we call the microbiome. They produce 2 million genes. We are less than 1% human. And I'm going to tell you a story about how humans were created, because that will make a lot more impact on what I'm talking about. So as you know, our planet is about 4 billion years, 4.5 billion years old, 4.6 billion years old. And give or take, the bacteria and viruses have been on this planet for about 4 billion years. The humans are only about a couple of 100,000 years old species. We are very new. So here's how I believe the humans were created. One day, all the viruses and bacteria got together, and they were all living in Africa. And they say, we are sick and tired of living in this small space in Africa. We want to take over the world. And they all looked at each other and said, what should we do? One of the smarter ones says, I have an idea. What if we can create a thing that can move, and all billions of us can live inside it? All we have to do is keep this thing healthy, and it's going to run around and feed us all the time. We just have to make them crave what we want, and they're going to go out and feed us. And guess what? They're going to go everywhere in the world. They're going to poop everywhere. They're going to spread us around, and we're going to take over the world. And they created humans. There is a slight problem there. How many of you know about artificial intelligence? Everyone here, right? Everyone is worried about the artificial intelligence. They said, oh my God, what if the AI or the artificial intelligence becomes so smart that it's smarter than us, it's smarter than humans? What will happen to us? And we worry about what will happen when the technology is smarter than us. What will they do to us? And bacteria and viruses start thinking the same thing. They say, Master, I'm worried that we just created this thing. What if it became smarter than us? What would we do? Master says, don't worry. We got the controls in place. Master, what? You know, inside the human cell, there is a part they call that mitochondria. Mitochondria is just one of our brother. It's a bacteria that provides the energy to the human cell. So human cell, inside our human cell, there is a part bacteria, it's called mitochondria. It's a bacteria, and that's the one that provides the energy to the human cells. Master says, guess what? If these humans don't do what we want, we just turn their energy off and they're going to die. We directly talk to our brother called mitochondria. We have everything under control, so relax. Other young ones say, Master, you know they're developing this thing called brain. What are we going to do about that? Master said, don't you worry. Remember, all of us live inside the gut. We put a direct connection to the brain. Can you believe they call that vagus nerve? In this vagus nerve that connects the gut to the brain, we constantly are telling brain what we want. When we are hungry, we tell them we are hungry. They feed us. When we are full, we tell them it's full. And guess what? What makes these humans feel good is something called serotonin. We're not going to let them produce it. 90% of the serotonin, we're going to produce it right in our gut. If they want to feel good, they're going to take care of us. Right? And that's exactly what happens. These bacteria have a complete control. They control our gene expression. Every single chronic disease that we know of today, Parkinson's, Alzheimer, anxiety, depression, obesity, diabetes, cancer, every one of the disease happens for one reason and one reason only. Chronic diseases happen because of chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation happens because our gut microbiome is out of balance. When our body is not at ease, what do we call that? Dis-ease. Dis-ease is called disease. Disease happens because your body is not at ease. What if you knew what was going on inside your gut, and what if you could balance it? Wouldn't that keep you healthy? And if you're healthy, you can make anything, you can do anything in life. What good is money, like Steve Jobs said? I made all the money, and I'm looking at these blinking lights, and I'm about to die. And I wish I could give all my money and get my health back. What if you knew being healthy was simply a matter of choice? So it's a very interesting thing happened. If you go back, thank you. You can Google any disease you want. Just type Parkinson's and microbiome. It will say Parkinson's starts in the gut. Alzheimer's starts in the gut. Not only they found the cancer is caused by the microbiome, the Cleveland Clinic published a research 3 months ago that all breast cancer is caused by the microbiome. And here's the most interesting part. The 2 research that came out in the last 60 days, one of them said whether cancer therapy works or it does not work, it depends on your microbiome. That means whether immunotherapy works or it fails, depends on your microbiome. Whether the chemotherapy works or it kills you, depends on your microbiome. When you're depressed, what's the first thing you do? You eat. When you're anxious, you get a butterfly in your stomach. You don't get a butterfly here. What if we are all wrong? People say this is our primary brain and gut is our secondary brain. What if we are wrong? What if we think because we are somebody, like we used to believe? Remember, a couple of 100 years ago, we used to believe the earth was the center of the solar system. Until Galileo said, no, maybe we are revolving around the sun, and people wanted to kill him because how could we not be the center of the universe? What if our gut is our brain, and this thing is simply the puppet, and the puppet masters are simply pulling the strings? And if you don't take care of the puppet master, our puppet dies. Right? So here I am dedicating my life to solving this problem, not because I have to, it's because I want to. I want to do it because that's the only way we as humanity can start solving the problem that we have facing for thousands of years. And we know our healthcare problem is not going to be solved by Obamacare or Trump care or Putin care. It's going to be solved by you and I coming together to make it happen. And all I'm going to do is I will dedicate my life to solving it, and I want you to join me in that revolution and come, and every one of us. The company that I started is called Viome, and people are going to wonder why. So by the way, you know the Indians cannot pronounce the word we. The Victor, we cannot pronounce it. We say we. What is we? I don't know. So why would you name a company that you can't pronounce? And let me tell you why. Is VIE in French means life, and omics is science. Science of life is what I want to do, called Viome. And I can't pronounce it, so I always say, Jared, how do you pronounce it?
Viome?
Viome? Viome. That's whatever you say. It's V as in Victor, I-O-M-E. And here's my ask of you. And again, if you can join me, we need about 1 million people who can come together, because once we have 1 million people inside the information about how body works, we will solve this problem once for all. Anyone who has seen any loved one have a chronic disease, you know it doesn't matter what you call it, it's a suffering. Last week, I found out my dad has a pancreatic cancer. And, I could have been saying, God, it took me a while to realize it's the same cancer that killed Steve Jobs. And I was talking to my dad, and I said, Dad, I wish I had started this journey 5 years ago, because by this time I would have solved this problem. And I said, I don't know what I can do at this point for you, but I am going to do the best I can to solve this problem. And I would make sure that no one ever has to suffer through it. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you, if you have any loved one you have seen suffer through this, let's solve this problem once for all. Let's all come together. Let's join the hands together. Let's all sign up for Viome. And it's not, I don't need the money. We do it at cost, by the way. So to do everything that goes inside the body used to cost $10,000. We actually brought the cost down to $399. And we are going to, hopefully in 3 months or so, drop it down to $299. I want to bring this cost down to $9 if I could. And I'm going to keep dropping it, because just like anything else, once people start joining it, the cost will continue to come down, and I want to pass the cost down to you. We do not make 1 cent of this. Everything we have done is spend the money on this is our personal money. And I'm going to tell you that if you join us together, you have my word, we will solve this problem. And if we solve this problem, I'm going to make a commitment to every one of you here. I'm going to go attack the education next, and I'm going to solve that problem next. Now, so if you want, to really join me in this revolution, there are some, we have a booth up there, or you can just go to viome.com, viome.com, and sign up. And really, you will be not only helping yourself. I mean, I can tell you all the things about, 10,000 people who came. We were on Dr. Oz show last week. There were 2 of our customers were there. One woman lost 71 pounds. Another woman was so sick. She said a world had given up on her, and for the first time, she feels better. Right. Deepak Chopra, if you go just Google it, you will see him talking about, how he is using Viome. He's on a book tour, and in book tour he talks about why people should be using Viome. I can give you all the stories, but the only story you want to hear is if you join, not only you will feel better and healthier, you will help the humanity get better and healthier. And all I need your help. I can't do it alone. So please make me a promise you will come together and make it happen. Is that a promise? Ma'am, say yes. So I'm going to now talk about what are the other big problems that we need solving, and how do you think like an entrepreneur. So I'm going to now go out and go on a soapbox, and I'm going to help you think about the problems, right? When you are looking at a big problem, you never want to look at the symptom of the problem. You want to find the root cause of the problem. I didn't go out and say I want to solve the diabetes. I didn't say I want to solve the obesity. I didn't say I want to solve the cancer. I said all of these are caused by the root cause, which is the imbalance of your gut. And if you can solve that, all the symptoms that you see go away. We have people who say they had acne and it's gone. The people say I had depression and it's gone. We don't solve depression. We don't solve anxiety. We solve the gut. That's the root cause. So I'm going to tell you how to find the root cause. Many of you believe the biggest problem facing humanity is lack of fresh water. And people say, if I can solve the problem of water, wouldn't that be amazing, because the world would benefit? What they don't realize is the majority of the water is used for agriculture. And what if someone could solve the problem of agriculture by using aquaponic or aeroponic, or using a lightly salted water? And if you can solve the agriculture problem, you'll have plenty of fresh water. Until you realize majority of the agriculture is used to feed the cattle. And what if we can solve the problem of having people to eat beef without having to raise the cattle? How do you create the cattle? It starts with the basic biology. A sperm and the egg and a single cell. Single cell can become everything in your body. It becomes muscle tissues, it becomes skin, it becomes heart, it becomes eyes, it becomes ears. If all we want to do is eat muscle tissues, why do we need to create eyes and ears? You're not going to eat that. So what if you can take a single stem cell and just create a factory that simply produces muscle tissues, and beef keeps coming out? and you never have to raise a single cattle. Think about that. Suddenly, the problem of fresh water becomes the problem of synthetic biology. And that's how you start to think the problems. Here's the thing. A lot of people say, I know nothing about anything you're talking about. How am I going to solve that?
I'm like, man, they're like, I got to make a cold call to Monday.
So here's the thing. Let me tell you something. Once you become good at something, you become completely useless in that industry. Think about that for a second. Once you are an expert in any industry that you are in, you cannot do much other than making incremental improvement. That means if you're an expert, you can take something, make it 10% better, 15% better, 25% better. If you want to change something 10 times or 100 times, you have to be a non-expert. You have to come to an industry you know absolutely nothing about. The problem of healthcare was never going to be solved by somebody who is a doctor or somebody who comes from the industry. It takes an idiot boy from a village in India to say, I can do it. Right? It takes that one to do that, right? Problem of going to the moon wasn't going to be solved by someone who in the aeronautical industry. It is going to be solved by someone who doesn't know what it means to go to the moon. And I'm here to simply wrap up at this point because that thing is blinking on me. That says wrap up. Is to say, never be afraid to go out and do the things that you know absolutely nothing about. The less you know about it, the better the chances you'll be able to solve that problem. So get up and go out and say, I'm never going to be afraid to fail because the human beings fail and entrepreneurs pivot. And every problem, every single thing that I do that does not work is simply a stepping stone to a different solution, different problem or a bigger problem. So never be afraid to go out and try anything you want because come up with the craziest idea and make it happen. So all I want you to do is stand up and say, my moonshot is, come on, and scream as loud as you can. My moonshot is, my moonshot is. Tell me what your moonshot is. Your moonshot, not my moonshot. Your moonshot. What would you solve Monday morning when you go? What are the biggest problem you want solving? If you had everything in the world that you want, what would you do? What are you willing to die for and live for it? What is the thing that you would do if you had $1 billion, a loving family, everything you wanted? What would you do? And do that today, you will get everything that you want. That is your passion, that's your calling, and that's your moonshot. Thank you.